Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam Stutis series. We will be concluding the Rudra Gita today with the last shloka. Shloka number 68, chapter 24, canto 4. Athatvam asino brahman
Athatvam asino brahman
paramatman vipaschitam
paramatman vipakshidam
vishvam rudra bhayadvastam
vishwam rudra bhayadvastam
akutaschit bhayagatihi.
agutachit bhayagatihi.
Word for word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Atha,
Atha.
therefore,
Therefore,
Tvam, you, my Lord,
you, my Lord,
Asi,
are,
Naha,
Naha,
our,
are,
Brahman, O Supreme Brahman,
O Supreme Brahman,
Parama Atman,
Atman,
O Super Soul,
O Super Soul,
Vipaschidam,
for
the learned wise men, Vishwam,
Vishwam,
the whole universe, Rudra Bhaya, being afraid of Rudra, Dvastam, and
annihilated,
Akutaschit Bhaya, undoubtedly fearless, Gatihi, destination. Translation. My dear Lord, all actually learned persons know you as the Supreme Brahman and the Super Soul. Although the entire universe is afraid of Lord Rudra, who ultimately annihilates everything, for the learned devotees, you are the fearless destination of all.
You are the fearless destination of all.
Reading from Srila Prabhupada's purport. For the purpose of creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this cosmic manifestation, there are three lords, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva or Maheshwara. The material body is finished at the time of annihilation. Both the universal body and the small unit, the individual living entity's body, are susceptible to annihilation at the ultimate end. However, the devotees do not fear the annihilation of the body, for they are confident that after the annihilation, they will go back home, back to Godhead. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naitimam eti sorjana. If one strictly follows the process of devotional service, he has no fear of death, for he is predestined to go back home, back to Godhead. The non-devotees are fearful of death because they have no guarantee of where they are going or of the type of body they are going to get in their next life. The word Rudra Bhaya is significant in this verse because Rudra himself, Lord Shiva, is speaking of fear of Rudra. This indicates that there are many Rudras, 11 Rudras, and the Rudra, Lord Shiva, who was offering this prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is different from the other Rudras, although he is as powerful as they are. The conclusion is that one Rudra is afraid of another Rudra because each and every one of them is engaged in the destruction of this cosmic manifestation. But for the devotee, everyone is afraid of Rudra, even Rudra himself. A devotee is never afraid of Rudra because he is always secure, being protected by the lotus feet of the Lord. As Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.31, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktah pranashyati. My dear Arjuna, you may declare publicly that my pure devotee will not be vanquished under any circumstances. So in this entire Rudra Gita, Lord Shiva is teaching us by example how to offer prayers. Lord Shiva himself is the Lord of destruction. When the Lord says Kalosmi in Bhagavad Gita, that is actually a reference to Lord Shiva. Most of us, actually all of us, not most of us, all of us fear death and destruction. And Lord Shiva is telling us here how we can overcome that fear, come out of that fear. In this world, there is a great deal of competition for resources. And we are always afraid we will not get a portion of that resource. We're not just talking about material resources. Resources includes things like affection, love, intelligence. Even these are resources. Fear comes from the bodily conception of life, which is why in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna was expressing a great deal of fear about the consequences of what he is about to do. So Krishna's entire focus in the second chapter, predominantly, it begins with establishing that the soul is eternal. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapaha, na shoshayati marutaha. At that time, Krishna is telling Arjuna, the soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Why is Krishna establishing that the soul is eternal? To get Arjuna out of that fear. Because the fear is born of bodily conception. I have to suffer the consequences of killing a Brahmana who is playing the role of a Kshatriya on the battlefield. I have to accept the sin of killing elderly people. In the Shastra, it is said 5 categories of people should always be protected. That is society's duty, which is Brahmanas, the cows, the elderly people, women, and children. But this fear is coming from experiencing everything on the bodily conception of it. Because we are absorbed in the illusory energy of the Lord. She is so powerful. She's convinced us that our family is important, our wealth is important, our nation is important, our possessions are important. She has just convinced you of all of this, that all of this is important. But if we understand that the soul is eternal, then why should we worry about death? Death is just another chapter in a book. But the soul is going to go on and take another body if we are going to get another life. Unless, of course, we go back to the Supreme Lord himself. There is a nice shloka in the 11th canto, the 2nd chapter, the 37th verse. It says, Bhayam dvitiya bhiniveshataha syat ishad apetasya viparyayos smritihi tan mayayato buddha abhajattam bhaktyaikaisham gurudevatma. The translation of the shloka is as follows. Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. That's how fear develops. You become absorbed in everything that is material. Something that is temporary, something that is going to be destroyed. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency for illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and as his very life and soul. Such a beautiful verse. Fearlessness comes from understanding that you're a servant of the Lord, and if you dutifully serve the Lord via the medium of the spiritual master, where you accept the spiritual master himself as your very life and soul, as much as you do his instructions, then where is there fear? There is no room for fear. If we take shelter in that which is permanent, then where can fear come from? Who is permanent? Krishna is permanent. You are permanent. But if you dwell on bodily relationships, your family members are not permanent, but you want their shelter. Wealth is not permanent, you have to let go, but you want the shelter of wealth. Intelligence, material intelligence is not permanent, but you want to take the shelter of intelligence. And so on and so forth, fame, strength, etc. So if we continue to take shelter of that which is temporary, it will cause fear. This is what Arjuna was experiencing in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. Fear because he was looking at everything on the bodily platform. He was taking shelter of Maya. But when the Lord said, declare it boldly that my devotees never perish, and Arjuna takes full shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, then suddenly Arjuna has become fearless. He is not worried anymore of the sins. He is not worried about infamy. He is not worried about the future generations. He is not worried about anything because he has finally surrendered fully to the Supreme Lord. So fearlessness comes when you take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Prahlad Maharaj, in the 7th canto, 9th chapter, 19th verse, he says to the Lord, he's speaking to the Lord. He says, my dear Lord Nrsimhadev, because of a bodily conception of life, embodied souls neglected and not cared for by you cannot do anything for their betterment. Whatever remedies they accept, although perhaps temporarily beneficial, are certainly impermanent. And Prahlad Maharaj gives an example. For example, a father and mother cannot protect their child. A physician and medicine cannot relieve a suffering patient. And a boat on the ocean cannot protect a drowning man. His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu narrated a very painful incident that happened when a family and others were traveling on a boat on Ganga Sagar. And there was a little child on the boat along with his parents. Children are, mischievous. So the child was putting his hand in the water of the Ganges, and as the boat was moving. So suddenly a crocodile grabbed onto his arm. What would be the first instinct of the parent? Is to rescue the child. But as we know, the crocodile latches on very, very strongly. Blood was pouring everywhere. The mother was trying to yank the child from the mouth of the crocodile, the child's hand. But in the process, the boat starts rocking violently. The crocodile is a very strong animal. And the boatsman told the parents, see, if you continue to fight, we will all drown. In order for all of us to be saved, we have to let go of the child. And so the mother had to let go of the child in order for the rest of the people on the boat to be saved. Because otherwise everybody would have toppled into the water and perished. So we may think we can protect our children, or we may think we can take shelter of our children. After all, we've raised them nicely. Now it's their turn to take care of us. Of course, shastrically, that's the right thing to do. Dharmically, that is the right thing to do. But ultimately, you cannot take shelter of something that is impermanent. Just as the mother had to let go of her child to save herself, her rest of the family and other members on the boat, we simply have to let go and take shelter of Krishna. That is the only means by which we can actually become fearless. This is the fact of life. We think anybody and everybody is protecting us. Our children, our wealth, everything will protect us. Nothing will protect you. Even for a crorepati, if he has 4 houses, still he will be losing sleep because he's taken shelter of Maya. So there was a famous personality called Walt Disney. I'm sure you've heard about Disney motion pictures. He was a wonderful cartoonist and he created all of these fantastic cartoon characters. As he was approaching old age, he did not want to die. So he said, I will invest so much money, because he had made millions and millions of dollars. I want to defer death. How can we extend our life? And is it possible for human beings to completely overcome death itself? And so he funded research into the possibility of the immortality of this body. Ultimately, he himself died. But the research continues into being deathless. So what they have failed to understand is that the body has to perish. There is no other option. The soul can continue. So if they understand this small fact, they will understand that this is life. If you want to be fearless, you have to accept that you're a servant of the Supreme Lord. Take his shelter and serve him with love and affection. Especially unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service of the Lord will result in fearlessness. So I want to just conclude this entire Rudra Geet by looking at the summary of what we've covered and also look at the Falashruti that Lord Shiva is telling us. So from Shloka 33 to 68, we have covered the Rudra Gita. And this breakup is based on Bhagavata Subodhini, written by His Grace Gauranga Prabhu, Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. So from Shlokas 33 to 43, the summary is that Lord Shiva is paying obeisances to the Supreme Lord in the form of Chaturvyuha, as well as the presiding deities of the elements for purification. Then from Shlokas 44 to 52, he speaks about not only seeing the form of the Lord, but also serving the Lord's glorious form. From Shlokas 54 to 59, he talks about how bhakti is the topmost way to worship the Lord, because that will lead you to complete surrender. from shlokas 60 to 66, the relationship between Bhagavan and Prakriti is established. In shloka 67, which we covered yesterday, the importance of taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and worshipping the Lord. And today, the shloka that we covered talked about the importance of developing fearlessness. Fearlessness comes from taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. After this shloka, there are a few more shlokas. I will just quickly cover the English translation and come to the Falashruti. So we've concluded with 68 as the last shloka of the Rudra Gita. Then Lord Shiva is giving instructions to the Prajeta, saying, "My dear sons of the king, just execute your occupational duty as kings with a pure heart. Just chant this prayer, fixing your mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. That will bring you all good fortune, for the Lord will be very much pleased with you." So he's instructing the Prajetas to recite these prayers, and they will get all good fortune. Therefore, O sons of the king, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari is situated in everyone's heart. He is also within your hearts. Therefore, chant the glories of the Lord and always meditate upon him continuously. Manmana bhava madbhaktaha. Same thing Lord Shiva is instructing the Prajetas. My dear princess, in the form of a prayer, I have delineated the yoga system of chanting the holy name. All of you should take this important stotra within your minds and promise to keep it in order to become great sages. By acting silently like a great sage and by giving attention and reverence, you should practice this method. And then Lord Shiva says how he got these prayers. This prayer was first spoken to us, which means the 11 Rudras, by Lord Brahma, the master of all creators. The creators, headed by Bhrigu, were instructed in these prayers because they wanted to create. When all the Prajapatis were ordered to create by Lord Brahma, we chanted these prayers in praise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and became completely free from all ignorance. Thus, we were able to create different types of living entities. A devotee of Lord Krishna, whose mind is always absorbed in him, who with great attention and reverence chants this stotra, prayer, will achieve the greatest perfection of life without delay. So the 74th shloka is the Phalashruti. The Phalashruti here again, a devotee of Lord Krishna, whose mind is always absorbed in him, who with great attention and reverence chants this stotra, this prayer, this Rudra Gita, will achieve the greatest perfection of life without delay. So over the next few weeks, we will also be actually chanting this Rudra Gita, practicing how to recite it, and have faith that this Phalashruti that Lord Shiva is promising us, that you will actually obtain it in this life. With that, we come to the conclusion of the Rudra Gita.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.